And we are here to break the Buckeye football team down with our dream team. Nicole Shearin from 10 TV. 97.1 The Fan. We have former Buckeye players, the one and only Bobby Carpenter and DeVier Posey. And Bobby, we're going to start with you. The Buckeyes are picked to repeat as national champions. Why did Las Vegas do that? Why do you think they picked them?
If you look, Dom, at Ohio State, they always take supersized money, just like the Dallas Cowboys, just like the New York Yankees. It's a function of the fact that they have one of the largest fan bases. People love them. They're going to draw a lot of dollars. So if you're going to put them at the top of the ticket, and you have Ryan Day. Now, listen, you lost a lot. This isn't like the 2015 team where it was, hey, wash, rinse, and repeat. But I think there's a confidence now in Ryan Day with how he's able to run the offense, that he'll be able to select the right quarterback, and the fact that they got Matt Patricia to replace Jim Knowles. A lot of things are built in, and let's be honest, they probably have two of the best position players in all of college football in J.J. Smith and Caleb Downs.
Nicole, Vegas picked them to repeat. Is that a good thing or a bad thing as you sit back and look at it?
So I have kind of a two-part answer for that. I don't like that. I do not like when a team is picked to win a national title again. I personally hate it. But I am not worried about Ohio State being picked to repeat because we've seen it. We've seen them take stuff down from the national championship. I mean, Caleb Downs has been very vocal about that. They're not the kind of team, and they've already proved it, that's going to kind of make that noise affect how they prep, how they play. In general, short answer to your question, no, I do not like it.
You don't like it?
I don't like it at all.
Does anyone like it?
I'm not worried about them because of how they've talked about how they're approaching this season. I'm not concerned. They don't have a big head. They don't have this feeling of, we won it last year, we're going to do it again. No, it's a whole new year. They got a whole new story to write, and they've said that.
Yeah, the best part about the guys you just mentioned, Caleb Downs and J.J. Smith, when you're around great players, you come into a room and change a room. Your work ethic, your habits, they're going to raise those guys up. And if I'm not mistaken, Bob, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Caleb Downs went to Ryan Day and asked to take those down. So when your leader is coming in every day and saying, hey, guys, we have to start anew. I'm going to show you and be the example. It's hard not to follow.
Yeah.
Hard not to follow.
Part of it is, too, is so much of that team is gone. Now, we talk about Caleb Downs and J.J. Smith, and you have Sonny Styles, and some of the guys are still in there. But, you look at guys like Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry that have been waiting 3 years now to play because they're behind JT and behind Jack.
They have made big plays already, made huge plays.
But there's a big difference when you win a national title, when you're the guy making the play, you're the guy playing 70, 80% of those snaps, than when you're one of the guys who's contributing, which is good, and they were very impactful players. But if you look, that offensive line, which seemed a little bit sketchy during the end of last year, ended up being a blessing in disguise because all of those guys got to play again. So this is a hungry group. And listen, let's not act like they were, it was a coronation all season long. I mean, we're talking about Christmas time, firing the coach and everybody having the meeting and talking. So there's still a lot of hunger there.
For all you guys, we all know what Ohio State football is all about. We all know what the pressure's like. We'll get to that in a minute. But you guys know Ryan Day as well as anyone. What is keeping him up at nights now? What has him worried?
Yeah, I would honestly say, you can go with the obvious. Yes, beating Michigan and open the season with Texas. But when you're a coach, you look at the day-to-day and the planning and the calendar. And I think getting the quarterback battle out of hand in the media or how to hand, you don't want that to happen. I have two young guys. I don't want to lose either or of them. And I have a younger guy behind them that I need to keep their mental straight. I need to keep them focused. And so I think he's losing sleep over how do I prepare my quarterbacks without these young guys feeling the pressure of a battle and starting at Ohio State for the first time.
Well, and going off of that, I agree with you. The obvious choice is beating Michigan. Yeah, everybody wants him to. But honestly, I think what's keeping him up at night is who's going to be the leaders this year? Because Will Howard was a huge leader. Jack Sawyer, Emeka, all the guys who came back. You looked at that team last year, and you could name a handful of guys who were vocal leaders. Everybody could recognize them. This year, I think we've got some different styles of leadership. I've said from the beginning that Sonny Styles is going to be the Block O this year. I think he deserves it. But I have some concerns, does Julian Sayin have that dog in him to be that leader? Is Lincoln Keenholz going to be that kind of leader? I think if I'm Ryan Day, that's what slightly keeps me up at night because leadership, as you guys both know, it's a huge aspect of football. I mean, you have to have leaders out there to perform. So that would be kind of my take on that.
What's really keeping Ryan up at night is the fact that he's got 2 middle school daughters. Like, I'm going to be perfectly honest about that. Based upon our conversations, I felt a little relief after talking with him and knowing what him and Nina are dealing with, just the same as probably just about any other parent out there. But it is probably a little bit of that leadership, and this is one of the things they're doing. They started taking something that Tress used to do, where they would read a book and have the upperclassmen present.
Like that.
And it gives those guys some leadership. It puts them in the forefront. It allows them. They build these little groups during the off season, and they compete. And you have like your captains and your leaders of the group, and they are accountable for everybody within their unit. And so in doing that, that helps kind of cultivate, and that's a Mickey Marotti thing in the summer. But that is it, Nicole. Like, how do you develop those leaders when you don't really have the quarterback, so he's not the guy that can really say anything? You've lost a lot of the defense, and so you look at like Caleb, Sonny, Jermaine. Like, can these guys step up
JJ
on the other
doesn't
side?
talk much.
And
No,
JJ's
right.
quiet.
And that's fine, but
It
he's
is.
quiet.
His play is really
But
loud.
it's
Yeah,
interesting because JJ, I mean, he's the shining example of what you want to be as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, ultra talented, but ultra competitive, hard worker. Brandon Ennis is a little more of a vocal guy.
Okay.
And he may not be quite as physically gifted as JJ, because no one is, but he's a guy that has that emotional leadership and someone that kind of wears their heart on their sleeve a lot. So I think that's kind of what he's trying to see, is how this cake mixes together, because the ingredients are always the same, but it's just the ratio of what you're putting in there changes every year.
You know, the one thing I will say, and I know Coach, he worries about everything. There's nothing he does not worry about, and he knows about everything that's going on with that football team. He's got the pulse. I think the buy-in factor is huge on this football team, and he's got the players marching the right direction. With that said, I think he does worry about a team getting big-headed a little bit, and that's the reason they're taking all that stuff down. And yes, the players have bought into it, but as a head coach, Bobby, DeVier, you guys were players. You know, last year was great, but that was last year. And this year, I don't have to tell you, there haven't been, I don't think Ohio State's ever had a repeat champion. And it's because in the 2015, Urban Meyer told me that 2015 team was better than the 2014 team, and they didn't win it.
Our 03 team is probably better than our 02 team. Like, it's really hard to repeat. We've watched Georgia do it. You've seen Bama do it. But it is a rarity. The one thing I think that probably keeps their focus more than anything else that we've had is when you have Texas as the opener, and it's a team that you played, and okay, you beat them on the scoreboard by 2 touchdowns, they're 1 yard away from tying that game. So I think everybody is fully aware that they're going to be coming in here ready to go and fired up, and that will be the biggest game of the early season.
The other thing I want to put out there, and I love the fact that Ryan did not shy away. He went out there and said, hey, I want to be a coach that wins multiple titles. He's not dodging from it. Obviously, the only other guy that won multiple titles at Ohio State's a guy named Woody Hayes, who, you know, they got statues up and everything. But, I mean, did it surprise you that he didn't shy away from that, guys?
Yeah, no, I love that that's his goal. I mean, and when you really zero out and say, hey, who has had a chance to win 2 natties, right? Like, who's had that back? You look at that 2014 season, you come back in 15, and then 07, 06, we could have won 2 natties, but we had to win the first one, right? And so when you think about Ohio State and who is in the locker room, the guys have made plays and how they made them, right? Like, I think about that drive in Penn State with Edric Houston. He has a film to turn on to say, hey, guys, I know I have confidence in big moments that I can make plays. And so when you take younger guys and you string all of that little small confidence together and have a ring, I think these dudes will go into the season saying, hey, no one knows our name yet. Like, no, all of our stars are gone, but we made plays. Let me reintroduce myself to you. And I think that's where the confidence comes from, in the preparation with the 2s and the 3s, the Caden Currys of the world, you know, the Jermaine Matthews of the world. They're going to be full-time starters, and I'm looking for everybody to get to know them.
So I love that he said it, because what else do you want him to say? Right. I'd like to go middle around here, 10-2 for the next 5 years and see how it goes. And I remember having conversations with Lathan Ransom about this, and he'd come on my YouTube show and talk. He's like, we want to be the best defense in Ohio State history. Like, no offense to you guys. I'm like, dude, no offense taken. If that's not your goal at Ohio State, to be the very best, you're at the wrong place. So I guarantee you Jim Tressel would hear that and say yes. I mean, I would hope that Urban would hear that and say yes. And what is interesting, Urban and Tress both kind of won it on their first crack of going around, and then had some losses later. I mean, Ryan had to battle now to get here. You look at the loss to Clemson, then the loss to Bama, and just some of those painful losses that they've experienced, the one to Georgia.
Have the floodgates open?
And so it seems like maybe now there's a renewed confidence and vigor that maybe that wasn't there before.
But in that, at the same time, yes, there is definitely a renewed confidence. But I almost think about, man, he's in a tough spot right now at the exact same time because I think about Kirby Smart and what he was feeling after they won that first national title. Now all the fans want is another one. They did it. Let's get another one. Of course, like you said, if Ryan didn't say he wanted to win the national title, I would be a little concerned with, okay, then why are we all here in the first place? But at the same time, I want fans to remember, just because they may not go back-to-back, it may or may not happen, there's still other ways to have a successful season because it's a tough spot to be in where you want to go back-to-back, and then does it feel like a disappointment if you don't? Because there's all this hype around they're going to go back-to-back, they're going to win it again. So it's a tough spot to be in at the same time.
I will say this, Ryan's teams have really started playing better. I mean, maybe final game of the season notwithstanding. They've gotten better as the season has gone on, played really well in the postseason. And with this new format, I think when you get in, now you have your pathway. As before, it was tougher because there was some subjectivity where maybe 11-1 or 10-2 and you lost the wrong game, you don't get there. Now you're going to get your crack. And I think he feels pretty confident in himself and his team of being able to play and win in a playoff format.
All right, last thing here before we do some picking. John Cooper always liked to say, you're only as good as your last win at Ohio State. Buckeyes, Ryan Day, defending national champions. Does that take some of the heat off? Does that take some of the pressure off? You know him as well as anyone, Bobby. Is he feeling the heat still?
I think that there's a confidence now. When you win that and now you become the third coach in a row to win a national championship, and you walk by a banner that you're hanging there and say, well, let me stack another one. None of the other guys outside of Woody Hayes have two. So if I can do that, like, let's go, let's lean into it, there's always going to be pressure to beat Michigan. That's always going to be something that's a part of this. But I think with him winning, all of a sudden you see it. There's a reminder every day. We did this. We'll be able to keep moving. Let's continue to get better.
And I think we can all agree what makes Ohio State so great is also what can make it so bad, the fanaticness of the fans. With that said, they want to see winners, and they don't want to hear any, whatever. They want, who's going to win? Are we going to win? With that said, early pick time, and I'm going to start with Nicole, and we're going to go down. Do the Buckeyes repeat, Nicole, as national champions, yes or no, and why?
I think it is more likely that Jeremiah Smith wins the Heisman than Ohio State repeating as national champions. And here's why. It is very hard to repeat as a national champion, especially with the world of college football that we're in right now. It is so difficult, and I got to be honest, from what we've seen from the team so far, I feel great about the pieces that are here, but they lost a lot of guys from last season, and there was so much confidence with that group, experience, leadership, positions loaded with talent top to bottom. I mean, we saw it, the offensive line shuffled like crazy, and we still felt confident about it. I look at this roster, and I don't look at it and say, oh, yeah, back-to-back, here we go. Last year, though, I looked and I said, these are guys who can win a national title. And I'm also just concerned with some of the other teams that they're facing. I mean, Texas raises a major flag for me this year. That's my take. I'm not saying they won't,
no.
but I'm a no.
You're a no. DeVier.
I'm going to have to go with a no. The bet that we commented on first, I don't know if I'm putting $1,000 on Ohio State repeating this year, just due in part to the fact that I would love to see this team grind. I got to see this quarterback play for a couple games. Maybe week 4, first month of the season, I can revisit this prediction. But right now, till I see a ball completed, I got to go with no.
It is an early pick. What do you see?
It's tough when you don't know the quarterback. There's a lot of unknowns still. But I would say this, with the current structure and the current format, I would feel very confident saying that this team will be a Final Four team. Now, how far do they go past that? Are they able to win, get to the title, and then ultimately win the national championship? That's going to be contingent upon those leaders, how the quarterback develops. And one thing that we haven't really talked about, which last year, ironically, was kind of similar to 2014, and they had a rash of injuries, had one position, and were able to overcome it. That is a huge rarity to see in college football when your offensive line, they started 9 different guys on the offensive line in the second half of the year.
Well, what about you? Yeah, there you go.
They're getting ready to do it right now. Yes, they are going to repeat, and here is why. Ryan Day has the room. He's got this team. They believe in him. Not only are they going to beat Michigan this year, they're going to run the table, and the Buckeyes are going to repeat as national champions. And I love this team. Jeremiah Smith is the best player in the country. Do you see the? I understand we're going to have a young quarterback there, but they're going to be playing catch with the best receiver core in the country. I love the running backs. I love Matt Patricia. Yes, the Buckeyes will repeat. That's my early pick right now. Now let's go out and do it.
I love it. You were right last year, too.
You were
right last year.
I just like it. And Bobby's kind of with me a little bit. Bobby's a little bit.
Ryan is a heck of a coach. I love Matt Patricia on the defensive side. I think people are going to be really excited when
they're going to be a final. I agree, Final Four.
I
but
like
I think
that.
I'm jumping on. I'm jumping
you get
on
in the
Natty
Final Four and
after
look
first
out.
month. I'll say it. I just have to see it. I'm still debriefing last year.
Yes.
A lot of it. I mean, guys, health is a huge key.
For sure.
We don't have the depth that we had.
And quarterback is a huge key.
Yes.
All right, great stuff. Keep it on 10 TV, 10 TV Plus, and 97.1 The Fan for all your Buckeye coverage needs.